Hey everybody, welcome back. We are now in progress and checking out Neketaka here.
A light's foot and an heavy bullet, I cap.
Okay, well, let's see, that's not stealing, so let's go check it out. Cannonballs, we'll take that. We'll definitely take the rum. Alright, well, let's check out what we got available here. There's a cobbler here, there's different stores. Here's where you would go to get parts and actual other ship hulls. So basically, you can go up to this guy and have bigger ships built once you have sufficient funds, of course. There's a couple of estates, the Valeria estate, Sansa's Map Emporium. That's a fairly decent little quest right there. Actually, it's a series of quests where you go explore the Deadfire and you get paid for mapping out certain islands. These two estates, they hate each other's guts, so, you know. There's a clothing store. And the inn, and of course, the Valian Trading Company. And the Luminous Audra Mill. Alright, well, they said, let's see here. We need to go to the Kahanga Palace, so let's get up there.
And now Port Marche is behind us. I thought this would be a relief.
Where is my postinago of a brother? You there, have you seen Laro Badato?
Have you heard about the commotion at the palace?
Of course. Something about Luminous Adra.
And of course, you can see the stats for the city.
As you wish.
Kind of an interesting area here. We've got the usual stores, including Marihe's Metalwork, which is basically a smith. If you have played Baldur's Gate 2, then you might remember a certain special smith that could take different components and build weapons. This one can do basically the same thing, and they can also fix the weapons from Ognua. Not Ognua, Cadnua. We've got the Dark Cupboard, which is basically your one-stop mage shop. And of course, Arkmir's Manor. Arkmir is one of the archmages in Pillars of Eternity. And of course, Deadfire. You find his spells and whatnot, but you don't actually see him in the first game. But here, if you want to see him, he's available, shall we say. And the Water Shapers, they're kind of like waterbenders in a way. They're responsible for stopping all the various storms and whatnot from wiping everything out. But onto the palace.
You had no right to interfere in Rawatai's business.
Did the queen summon
What a culture
everyone to
is
the
a
palace?
business, you
Akira.
cumbersome drudge.
I've never seen Arui heroes.
This is basically lifestyles of the rich and famous for the Deadfire, pretty much.
Hold a moment. You may visit the palace and its shrine, but be warned. The Queen meets with trading company vipers. Take care you are not bitten. You will find her in her throne room through the door behind me. Inform the guards of your purpose. Whether the Queen will hear you above the baying of her guests is another matter.
I'll see it done.
While I am flattered by the esteemed Hazanui's confidence, I must wonder how my people are meant to have destroyed an entire colony overnight.
You tell us. It's no coincidence that your outpost at Port Mage survived the recent storm.
You speak as if I could command the tides, while you are casting your blame in a wide net. Why not look to our Kahanga allies? We do not share their talent for shaping water.
I say our guest forgets himself.
Brother, stand down. You are the one who mistakes my throne room for a sparring arena. I say this is beneath us. An interesting visitor in difficult times. You cannot be here to deliver a favorable omen. Allow me to apologize as I toss you before the wolves.
Wonderful, thanks.
This one is a watcher blessed by Tangaloa. I suspect that many of our questions about Hasongo will soon be answered.
I know this one. His parlor tricks frightened 10 years of every sailor in Queen's Birth.
We assembled to discuss the darkening of Hasongo, one of Rawatai's colonies. Watcher, it seems you have the floor.
Huh. What sailor's tale is this?
There's no sane explanation for what's been happening. You keep waiting for one, it'll be too late.
Does tilling the soils of the Eastern Reach drive all men mad? You sound as crazy as the Dawnstar Dreamers.
Have you not heard the rumors, Karu? An Adra Colossus marching across the sea. Sailor tales, but credible ones.
How came a watcher from half the world away to be involved in these happenings? Enlighten the court. Tracking down a god who stands as tall as a mountain, a fisherman with poor eyesight could do this. My priests will trip over their feet to interpret his divine plan. Watcher, can you cut through the din and tell for what he comes to the Deadfire? How resourceful of you. The Isles are studded with enough luminous Adra to bankroll an economy. I believe our course is clear. We will send the Watcher to Hisongo. Set sail to the west of Neketaka. I would tell you to keep a weather eye out for a lighthouse, but the God of Light did not appreciate competition. Something to add, Hazanui? You have an eager look about you. She believes herself entitled to my ear, I say.
Only that Hasongo is a Rawatayan outpost. It would be useful for the Watcher to take one of ours along.
Ma'am?
Maya's an expert sailor and a better sharpshooter. The best the Brass Citadel has to offer. Whatever comes your way, she'll see it first.
If it gets me and Ashiza out of diplomat duty, we'd set sail with a drunk scolder at the helm.
Ak, perfito. Do you mean to stop Eothas by shooting him? Seri Pelagina will go with the Watcher. Show him how the Republic's handled things.
Your Excellency, Palagina Messerai has been banished? She has been seen in Queen's Berth. I can have her report to headquarters.
So we got a familiar face and a mostly unfamiliar one, shall we say.
You should feel no obligation to take on additional crew. The choice is yours.
Say the word and I'll shoot the tip off a green boy's nose.
You're making a mistake, Watcher. In times like these, trustworthy allies are the most valuable asset of all.
Calm down, Nero. I'm sure you'll get one of your spies in place eventually. In the meantime, Watcher, I hope you'll meet me in the Brass Citadel. There's more for us to discuss among friendlier company.
I believe we are finished here. Are we? Aren't we popular? Take care at Hisongo. The Deadfire was overfull before Aethys blundered in. Your allies will use you toward any end. Do not give your trust lightly.
I say it is beyond time our guests lick their wounds somewhere else. Let's speak.
Okay, now we're already overfull. We only get 5 members of the party, so we're just gonna go ahead and leave her.
While we have the chance. Your coming is a favorable omen already. Such modesty, I say. You happen by a time when our rivals bicker and tear at each other's throats. It does not take a priest to see how the gods send us an outsider to dig under the skin of our enemies. No, I say. The envoy of a god will humble our foreign allies. I will not paddle around the island. My sister wants to know if you are as useful as you are disruptive. She trusts me to judge this. You did not come this far to serve the crown, I say. But sailing is an expensive hobby. Loyal service can keep your galley stocked. Neketaka is a city of friends, I say. We exchange so much between districts. Even my sister's advisors dine at the officers' lounge and indulge at the wild mare. Onikaza has a grasp on diplomacy that is beyond her impulsive, protective brother. You will see how much she overlooks in the name of peace. Here in Serpent's Crown, I can guarantee safety, but cavorting with outsiders, Akira, that is open water. A helpful warning, Herald of Bereth, from one friend to another.
Well, I'm not planning on doing
Enjoy your stay in Neketaka.
the Huana quest line. I was thinking more along the line of the Valian one, so I can get the achievement for that. So I guess we're off to Hisongo. Should do some.
Kitty, kitty.
I don't see any cats, but, you know, we do need another pet for Eloth. Well, not Eloth, I mean
Thank you
Adair.
again for maintaining my story in front of Vanessa and the others. I didn't enjoy deceiving them, but it seemed simpler than the alternative. I hoped you'd understand. Believe me, I take no pleasure in duplicity. I've certainly had my share of practice these last 5 years. After we parted, I set out to destroy the Leaden Key. It's controlled us for too long. I wanted to free Kith from it. So for 5 years, I've been tracking down Leaden Key circles, searching for the places where they operate in secret, trying to undo them. The task has been more difficult than I anticipated. I don't think I fully understood the weight of the decisions I would have to make, or the burden of living with them. It was much easier when I only had to follow someone else's lead. My father's, Theos's, yours. I wish I knew. After we defeated Theos, I thought the hard part of undoing his work would be tracking down the Leaden Key's members and operations. Perhaps this would be easier with an example. I went to a village in Old Valia, a run-down backwater of a place. Centuries ago, the Leaden Key had intervened to end some heretical cult. The details were lost, but what had endured was a practice of ritual bloodletting. A gruesome, pointless tradition.
You got an eye for charming little towns, I'll say that much.
At every full moon, the villagers would feed the soil with their blood. No one, young or old, sick or hale, was exempt. The village priest administered the practice. Grim old fellow. Reminded me of Theos. He was a tyrant. I was certain that if the villagers were free of his influence, they'd be free from the bloodletting too. So I arranged for him to have an accident. The old man died, and the villagers were terrified. They were convinced his death was an ill omen. They blamed it, and every other mishap that befell them, on their lack of faith. So they began bloodletting every week, turning on their neighbors for giving too little. Instead of a handful dying each year, a few perished every week. I had to do something, didn't I? I keep wondering what I might have done differently, or how I could have known better. I suppose so. Thank you. It's a relief to share this burden. You've given me a lot to think about. Ah, that. I'm looking for an old Leaden Key sect. I've found several references, but I want to be sure. Please, let me go over my notes again. Then I promise I'll tell you everything. You know me too well. All the same, I need to gather my thoughts.
Okay, well that's his personal quest started. So let's get down here and get out to sea. Oh, wait, I'm gonna get some supplies first. Oh yeah, here you can see the different holds you can buy and how much they cost. And of course, obviously, the bigger the hull, the more cannons it can carry, things like that. Got different cannons, like the worm tongue. Yeah, we need more medical supplies than that. $4,500. Okay, yeah, I think we'll just go with that. Alright, that looks good enough for me. Okay, no encounters. But I'm sure I haven't hit all the triggers yet. Oh, good. I remember this. Remember how I said the gods were really fucking annoying in this? Well, guess what?
You crack the spine of the old book, revealing blackened pages of dense, illegible text. The words recede into the shadows the longer you focus on them. Suddenly, the page widens to eclipse the world around you. A dark void stretches out on all sides, the air full of choking fumes that carry dying embers and curling flakes of ash. Something stirs in the darkness. An old woman steps forward, leering down at you from on high. Her smile is toothy and cruel. Her cheeks warp around it like melted candle wax.
I'm so glad that my messenger tracked you down. These days it's impossible to find good help. Watcher, before you draw your weapon, know that these proceedings are under a banner of peace. If this was a trap, it would have already closed around you.
Not that I really want to tangle with a god. At least, yet.
While Bareth whispers in one ear and Aethys shouts in the other, I thought you could use a more seasoned perspective to drown out the noise. For the moment, you are Bareth's creature. There are rules against my direct intervention, but nothing says you cannot willingly seek my counsel. Andra and Helia toe the line of acceptable conduct from time to time, but I am nothing if not adherent to our oldest laws. This is but a small corner of the beyond, one that I use for privacy and contemplation, when I need to get away from the endless chatter. Don't you find it unusual how open and accessible my siblings have made themselves? After millennia of subdued whispers, now they practically scream their intentions. And isn't it strange how we never bicker unless a mortal is watching? By necessity, in fact. But that's hardly the point. If we still possessed our glorious titans, my siblings and I would have put an end to Aethys and his rampage by now.
Yeah, like I said, if you've ever played Morrowind, you might have remembered the Numidium, the Titan type thing that was, on Vardenfell. Essentially, the gods, mortal body. They're on, the earth, or, whatever you want to call it, Tamriel. Well, the gods of Eora had their own versions of that kind of thing, and because of the damage they were doing, they all volunteered to give them up. This comes up in one of the DLCs, and it is an issue.
While we are powerless to stop him, some of my kin wish to observe how mortals respond to this threat. They think it will shine a light on the value of our patronage. Have we raised you well enough to be self-sufficient? Or must we return to Eora and impose some corrective measures? What indeed? That would depend on which of us you ask. A cross-section of society has converged on the Deadfire. Some of my kin are of an opinion that we are meant to judge mortals on the basis of their performance, while the rest of us have already made up our minds on the matter. Judge for yourself, but I think you'll find my intentions are more straightforward than you think. When we ascended to godhood, We did so to provide for a savage people. Our goal was to craft a society whose values were made to last. Perhaps even a society that had no need of us. A naive fallacy, but one that inspired my optimistic, misguided kin. How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy. The soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Aethys shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that. So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions. The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Aethys keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle. Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point. The wheel has but one material component in all of Aora. Something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. We succeeded in widening the gap, diverting it, giving it an efficient path to follow. Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies. Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection. At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Aora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history. Speak, Watcher. It isn't every day that I open myself to these communions, so spend your breath wisely. Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Aora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future. You speak as if you do. Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once my position is upheld, the undecided among the gods will embrace my plan. Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
Yeah, just open the book.
Wotica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
All right, let's get to sailing. And yes, now they... Shit. They have sea shanties as part of the music, the travel music. Well, sea shanties they wrote for the game, basically. I probably should go level up. But what the hell, we'll take a look around real quick, and I think we'll call it here.
I don't get this at all. There was a Dawnstar settlement on Isango. The place got trampled just the same. This is Wide Wind all over again. Only now we know it really is Aethys behind it. I'll tell you one thing. When we catch up to that unstoppable god statue, me and him are gonna have words. Well, at least he's easy to...
Yeah, we have nuggets.
So much food. I'm having some trouble moving through this.
Lava beyond seek, worth and wrath. Lava beyond seek.
Coral Naga sword, and of course a few other little things. And of course, there we go. Shit. All right, take that thing out.
This thing isn't doing the job.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to get him some better weapons.
Leave it.
Yep, that's our destination, the lighthouse. I believe it's where we're supposed to go initially. And I think I will leave it here after any conversations I have to have. Yeah, here we go.
Shut the door, quick, before the Naga get in. Of course it will. This place is a product of the finest Rawatine engineering, built to weather anything. Nothing's getting through.
Folks that saw Wide Wind on the field of battle, ones that lived, used to get rounded up looking like this. Some got reassigned, but most they sent home.
Wait, you're not the reinforcements. There are supposed to be reinforcements. Then you'll want my report. Yes. The first thing was the Colossus. It showed up a few days ago, a week ago, I can't be sure. But it was huge. Glowed like luminous Audra. That monster that killed our people?
I suppose he does look like a monster from down here.
I told you, Zuhira. The Godhammer scrambled their god, and now he's taking his revenge.
Our gods are above petty motivations like revenge. No, Gon's got a bigger plan for you and me.
It's no coincidence your Aethys shows up just as Latharn storms out.
The Colossus was coming right for us. Fleetmaster Co. ordered the Gunhawks and Cannoneers to take up positions. They fought. The rest of us were sent below, like cowards. I heard cannon blasts, artillery fire. Felt the world shake. Then the water started coming in. We came back up, and the others were... I don't know. Like they'd been turned to ash. And the Colossus was walking away. The fort was flooding, where it had broken our walls, and the luminous Audra in the lighthouse had gone dark.
They skulked in after, once our walls were down. Those of us who were left fought. But those cowards moved through the sunken hallways. Ambushed us from below. When the Hazanui's reinforcements get here, we'll strike back.
And build our walls back up so nothing gets through. And double our cannons, so we can destroy that Colossus if it ever comes back.
Dawn Stars.
Fleetmaster Co. hired them to tend the fields that supply the mainland, but they started acting strange, dreaming strange.
You mean dreaming of things to come?
One of them, Lotharin, had a row with the Fleetmaster over it, left angry just before the Colossus showed up. You think that's a coincidence?
I think their praying called it here, getting back at us for the Godhammer. Even if not, they definitely know something.
Spitting at our god? You ought to fear for the future of your soul.
Is there anything else? On the western side of the fort, it's a true marvel, a monument to Rawatayan engineering.
Proof we can tame and transform this place, once we get rid of the scale bellies.
Zahira, assistant quartermaster. The finest cannons and bombards in the archipelago. Why, you can barely walk the ramparts without... There's still one. There must be one. They can't all have been destroyed. But you'll need a trained artillerist to aim it. Don't go back out there. You'll be safe here until reinforcements arrive.
Just stay away from the water. Damn scale bellies are hiding down there. They'll ambush if you get close.
Sometimes you can see them, if you look carefully.
Alright guys, with that we're going to call this an episode. Off camera, I think I'm going to go see about picking up some more equipment. Better weapons for basically everybody, and maybe some more spells and whatnot. And, no wait, come to think of it, you can't actually buy spells in this. Unlike Pillars of Eternity 1, you could learn spells from, other people's grimoires, but this doesn't let you copy spells over anymore. Kind of sucks, but whatever. You can still learn them by, leveling up and whatnot, but, whatever works, I guess. Alright guys, with that, I will catch you then.